Hi everyone. My name is Chara Podimata. I'm an assistant professor of operations research and statistics at Sloan. I'm fairly new. This is my second year being here. My background is from theoretical computer science. I did my PhD at Harvard, then I did a postdoc at Berkeley, and now I'm super happy to be among the faculty here at Sloan. So my research focuses on everything that has to do with human-facing algorithmic decision-making, and specifically about how human behavior affects the results of algorithms that we use to make real-life decisions for people. To give you some better idea of the pipeline of problems that I consider, so all of us know that, there are many algorithmic decision-making systems nowadays that can classify us and give decisions, give us like loan approvals or whatnot. So the pipeline of the interaction there is as follows. Humans submit applications that contain all of their features. For example, their features include their demographics, their credit history, if we talk about the loan approval situation, any loans that they already have, and so on and so forth. And the output of this interaction is a decision. So this decision is whether the person was approved for a loan, whether the person that submitted an application will be invited for an on-site interview, or even whether the person will be given some benefits or some recommendations according to what their preferences or what their consumption profiles were in the previous rounds. Now, because of how consequential these decisions are for people's everyday lives, we have started seeing that the way that algorithms make decisions for humans directly impacts in the downstream way society. And because people have realized how consequential these decisions are, they have started being documented to quote unquote misbehave when it comes to how they submit their applications through all these algorithmic decision-making systems. Some of the ways of misbehaving that my research is considering is what happens when agents are agents or humans, we call them agents interchangeably, are myopically strategic. What does it mean to be myopically strategic? It means that when you are applying, let's say, for a loan, and you send your application to the system, you're trying to strategize with the features that you submit in order to maximize the probability that you will be given the loan. So a very concrete example of strategization that actually many websites advocate for and suggest that you do is that before you apply for a loan, you have to increase the number of credit cards that you have so that you're shown to the system as more credit worthy. Other types of misbehavior include individuals that are sometimes completely unpredictable or take actions that can be described as irrational. But also sometimes people are like not just myopic, so they try to strategize, thinking almost like 10 steps ahead in the future. Now, of course, there are many ways that the algorithms themselves can stop strategization. But another component that my research considers is what are the inputs from policy and regulation that can help algorithms make good decisions in spite of the fact that individuals are misbehaving when they're supplying their data as input to these algorithms. So the three pillars of my research are the following. Pillar number one, how are the decisions that algorithmic decision-making systems are affected when the users, the agents, are misbehaving? Pillar number two, how can we quantify the downstream effects of strategization to society as a whole? Pillar number three, what is the correct approach that we should be taking when it comes to policy and regulation when we know that algorithmic decision-making systems are going to be interacting with humans that have, different incentives than what systems may have thought about already? I want to highlight a very quick research project that was very fun to do about the disparate effects of strategic recommendation. So I'm sure all of you know here that recommendation systems nowadays exist and create a certain type of feedback loop. What is this feedback loop? On the one hand, we have the user who goes on the recommendation system, and for the purposes of this example, let's just consider TikTok. But again, these results generalize to any type of recommendation system you can have in mind. So let's assume that our user is interacting with the recommendation system of TikTok. Now, the user consumes content based on the recommendations that the recommendation system or TikTok itself gives to the user. So the system gives a slate of options to the user, and the user can decide what to consume and for how long to consume it. But note that the slate of recommendations that TikTok chooses to present to the user crucially depends on what the user consumed in the previous rounds. So this is a very well-known phenomenon in recommendation systems, and it's the whole purpose behind personalization of these recommendation systems. And because of the fact that every one of us can personalize the experience that we have in recommendation systems, you may hear in popular press that curation nowadays has become a form of creation in the content that people consume in recommendation systems. And of course, you don't have to think about the recommendation system as just TikTok. Your favorite recommendation systems, Netflix, YouTube, Instagram, Spotify, they all satisfy this same core property. So what are some main questions that I'm interested in this area? Question number one is, are people that are not researchers at MIT aware of this feedback loop? In some sense, I want to understand whether society knows that, whatever they consume is based on recommendations that they themselves are based on past patterns of consumption. And sub-question number two is, if they are aware of this feedback loop, how do they act in response? And I want to give you an example here of something from my personal experience. So I maintain two Instagram accounts. For one of my Instagram accounts, which is my personal Instagram account, I have all my personal interests except for dogs. And then I have an Instagram account specifically for my dog, where I only consume dog-related content. So I was wondering when I started this project, is this something that other people do? Are they specifically trying to strategize with what they consume in order to steer the system one way or the other? And then if they do, are there any harms to users if the recommendation system does not adapt to this type of curation or strategization? And are there any interventions? So some of the things that we proved in this work, well, first of all, before starting to prove concrete results, my research thinks a lot about the problem of identifying what are the realistic human behaviors that we encounter in practice. And the way that I identify that in my work is I run surveys on user consumption patterns. So we surveyed a population of 200 individuals that have no relationship with a university, that basically they told us how they are interacting with platforms like TikTok. Then my research introduced a theoretical model about recommending content to different types of users. And we showed that if you have a total population that is split into two big chunks, a majority subpopulation and a minority subpopulation, if the system, the recommendation platform, does not adapt to the type of strategization that the users are doing, it may end up being the case that the minority population becomes even more secluded from the general subpopulation, the mainstream content that the majority population consumes. This means that another explanation for filter bubbles, another explanation for polarization, can be the fact that the system does not understand that users are strategizing in order to curate the content in a more aggressive, active way compared to what we thought before. Now I have roughly 3 to 4 minutes. I had two sample research projects to discuss with you that I have done with MBAn arrays. One is more traditional operations research land where we tried to improve the operations of Breaking Ground, which is a nonprofit in New York City that helps match unhoused individuals to housing, to some like temporary and then hopefully permanent housing. But for the purposes of uh, being concise and being on time, I want to highlight the current project that me and Alex Jacquiat, who is one of the panelists that is going to talk to you later today, are doing with two MBAn student arrays. At a very high level, we are trying to build a Canvas GPT. This is like an automated assistant or an automated bot for all MIT Sloan classes. So let me just parse what that means. Um, so MIT Sloan uses Canvas, which is a website this is a learning management system that helps us manage class information. Now, the problem here is that all of the classes have a lot of information that is really, really hard to navigate at times. Just to give you a very quick example here, I hope that you can see my screen, but this is like a sample of the information that a student in our MBA program gets when they take my class, which is one of the core classes, data models and decisions. So this is a lot of information that the students need to remember and pay attention to at all times. So our project is to build a custom GPT, a custom assistant to answer questions about class material that is uploaded on Canvas. The questions can be, what time is Professor Hara's office hours? What did we learn in class 13? When did we learn about linear regression and how can I find the specific content? So it has to do with mostly administrative questions and questions that pertain to the syllabus of the class. And second, at the second phase, which is not the thing that we're currently focused on, at the second phase, we would like to build an automated tutor that can help students learn. So what would be a tutor in our example? Well, a tutor would be some like bot that explains to the students how linear regression actually works, given the material that we have been taught in class, and also can hopefully help professors create homework for their classes.